Before the detective there was a doctor, and behind the sharp eyes of Sherlock Holmes was a man driven by one simple belief, that reason, courage and imagination could change the world. Welcome to the greatest ever Victorians and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Welcome to the Literally Victorian podcast with your host, Matthew Lee Hanson.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Literally Victorian podcast, Greatest Ever Victorians, episode 5. Arthur Conan Doyle was born in Edinburgh, 1859, into a family both artistic and unstable. His father, Charles, was a talented illustrator plagued by alcoholism and mental illness. His mother, Mary, filled young Arthur's nights with stories of knights, ghosts and adventure. At Jesuit school, he discovered two things that would shape him forever: discipline and skepticism. He learned to question, to observe, to deduce. At 17, Doyle entered the University of Edinburgh to study medicine. There he met Dr. Joseph Bell, a surgeon whose uncanny powers of observation could diagnose a patient before a word was spoken. Bell could read lives from a glance, the very model for Sherlock Holmes. Medicine taught Doyle compassion, science taught him reason, and storytelling, that was his inheritance. After graduating, Doyle served as a ship's doctor on Arctic and African voyages, then opened a small practice in Southsea. Patients were scarce, so between appointments he began to write. In 1887, a modest novel appeared, A Study in Scarlet. It introduced a new kind of hero, not a knight or soldier, but a scientist of the mind, Sherlock Holmes. Holmes observed, reasoned, experimented. He treated mystery as medicine, diagnosing the ills of society. Beside him stood Dr. Watson, loyal and human, the heart that kept Holmes believable. At first, A Study in Scarlet went largely unnoticed, but when the Strand magazine began publishing the short stories, the world changed. Readers devoured them. Londoners sent walking sticks to Mr. Holmes, 221B Baker Street. A literary legend had been born. And Doyle, the quiet doctor, suddenly found himself one of the most famous writers in the empire. Success can be its own trap. As Holmes's fame grew, Doyle began to resent his creation. He called Holmes a calculating machine, fearing the detective's shadow would eclipse his more serious historical novels. In 1893, Doyle decided to end it. In The Final Problem, he sent Holmes and his nemesis Moriarty plunging to their deaths at Reichenbach Falls. The reaction was instant and furious. Londoners wore black armbands. Newspapers begged for Holmes's return. But Doyle refused. "I must save my mind for better things," he wrote. He turned his energy to grand adventures, The White Company, The Lost World, stories of courage, chivalry and discovery. He wanted to write of heroes who lived by ideals, not just intellect. Yet Holmes, like reason itself, refused to stay buried. By 1901, Doyle realized that Holmes represented something more than he'd imagined. The detective was the embodiment of clarity in a chaotic age, proof that truth could still be found through careful thought. He resurrected his creation in The Hound of the Baskervilles, setting him amid the foggy moors of Dartmoor. The story thrilled readers, not just because Holmes returned, but because he had become a symbol of justice itself. Beyond fiction, Doyle himself fought for the truth. He used his fame to expose wrongful convictions, most famously the George Erdalji case, where a young man had been imprisoned because of his race and class. Doyle's investigation cleared his name. For him, reason was a moral duty. Logic was compassion in action. Then came war and loss. The Great War claimed millions, including Doyle's beloved son, Kingsley. In his grief, the man who had championed reason turned to faith. He became a public advocate for spiritualism, convinced that communication with the dead could offer comfort and proof of the soul's survival. To skeptics, it was a betrayal of everything Holmes stood for. To Doyle, it was the same search: evidence, truth, understanding, carried into another realm. He lectured across the world, facing ridicule but never wavering. He believed that imagination and science were not opposites, that both sought to eliminate the unseen. Arthur Conan Doyle died in 1930, pen in hand, his heart as restless as ever. He left behind 60 Holmes stories, countless novels, and a legacy of intellect fused with wonder. He had begun as a doctor, a man who healed the body. He ended as a storyteller, a man who healed the imagination. Life is infinitely stranger than anything the mind of man could invent, he once wrote. And perhaps that was his greatest gift, to show us that logic and imagination, reason and belief are not enemies at all, but companions in the search for truth. Arthur Conan Doyle, the doctor, the dreamer, and the man who gave the world Sherlock Holmes. Thank you very much for listening. It's been good to have you with me. Until next time, bye for now.